Welcome to section 11.2 of immunology. In this section, we'll be discussing cytokines secreted from T helper type 2 cells. Let's get started. We introduced this figure in our video on T cell activation and subtypes. Here we can see the Th2 cell, along with the cytokines it secretes, including IL-4 and IL-13, IL-5, and IL-10. With this in mind, let's focus on memorizing these cytokines. This scene takes place at a school for conjoined twins. Notice the sign above the door that says School for Conjoined Twins. Through the window of the school, we can see a set of conjoined twins. This will be our symbol for T helper type 2 cells. A flooring installer is outside of the school, installing a 4-square court out of interlocking tiles. This 4-square court will be our symbol for interleukin-4, or IL-4. There is a set of conjoined twins right next to the flooring installer that are playing with a toy rocket with Apollo 13 written on it. The Apollo 13 rocket near the interlocking floors will be our symbol for IL-13. Apart from the twins playing with the rocket, there are a couple of other sets of conjoined twins in line who are waiting to play on the court. I guess you could say that the interest of these conjoined twins has been sparked by the 4-square area and the rocket. Or in other words, the Th2 cells have been activated. So all this together should help you remember that IL-4 and IL-13 are secreted from Th2 cells and that they also activate Th2 cells. You can see the flooring installer's green Jeep near the 4-square court. Remember, the Jeep is our symbol for IgG. So the fact that the Jeep is up high on the hill should help you remember that IL-4 and IL-13 increase IgG secretion from plasma cells. We can see some emerald green flags from his favorite esports team flying on his Jeep. The letter E, along with the banner that's shaped like an immunoglobulin, should help you think of IgE. So IL-4 and IL-13 increase IgE secretion from plasma cells. The flooring installer's helper can be seen in the background sleeping on the hood of the Jeep. He has Th1 written on his shirt, and his left index finger is sticking out as he sleeps with his head in his hand. This guy represents Th1. The fact that he's sleeping should help you think of downregulation of Th1. So IL-4 and IL-13 downregulate Th1. A teacher can be seen standing next to the 4-square area. As you can see, she's holding a bell, and recall that helper people with bells are a symbol for Th17 cells. She's supposed to be ringing her bell to announce that recess is over, but she's so worn out by all of these hooligans that she's fallen asleep standing up. This should help you remember that IL-4 and IL-13 downregulate Th17 cells. Near the front of the school, another flooring installer is laying an interlocking exterior basketball court. One of the other teachers has approached this installer guy and is trying to flirt with him, but he quickly holds out his hand with all 5 fingers prominently displayed to let her know that he's not interested. The flooring installer, holding out his hand with all 5 fingers visible, will be our symbol for IL-5. So Th2 cells secrete IL-5. The other hand of the worker is holding a tool used for laying flooring, which is shaped like an IgA molecule. This should help you remember that IL-5 increases IgA secretion. This guy's a pretty anxious dude, so the distraction from the approaching teacher caused him to slip up with his tool and destroy one of the interlocking planks. We can see the plank breaking into pieces and flying into the air. This broken piece is pink and looks kind of like an eosinophil, which should help you remember that IL-5 upregulates the growth of eosinophils in the bone marrow. Another worker can be seen building a fence made from interlocking slats for a petting zoo near the front of the school. One of the conjoined twins can be seen kindly returning a dime that they saw fall out of his pocket. The dime being returned to this guy will be our symbol for IL-10. One of the workers on this petting zoo fence crew is taking a break on a stack of the interlocking fence material. Notice that she has fallen asleep and her head is resting in her hand. Also notice that her index finger is sticking out. Again, this represents Th1. This is happening close to the stuff that represents IL-10. So together, this should help you remember that IL-10 downregulates Th1 activity. This same sleeping worker was holding a soda in her left hand before she started to fall asleep. When she passed out, she dropped the soda, causing it to spill everywhere, and this spilled mark looks a lot like a dendritic cell. This should help you remember that IL-10 downregulates dendritic cells. So just think of this lady falling asleep, which caused the soda to drop on the ground. So you could say that the dendritic cell is also downregulated. A couple of animals have already arrived for the petting zoo, and they can be seen sleeping in their cages. Remember that cages are a symbol for macrophages. The fact that the animals are asleep inside of the cages should help you think of downregulation. So this scene should help you remember that IL-10 downregulates macrophage activity. All right, that should be everything you need to know about cytokines secreted from Th2 cells.